Hey y'all, it's one of your better teachers here. That Scott Weaver's trying to do some crazy things, like trying to teach you guys how to cook. So I wanted to show you two examples of what it's like to be, well, myself and Mapoy, and then Mr. Weaver. Okay? So you have this idea of slope. Many of you were like, what is she talking about? So let's go ahead and do some notes here. You have y equals mx plus b. If you recall, we said b is where it begins. And if you watch the video, that means that x is always going to be 0 and y is where you are going to start on graphing, okay? So this is the y-intercept, okay? All right? Now, this is your rate of change. And unfortunately in math, guess what? That rate of change is not just going to pop up out of anywhere as the letter M. You have to figure out what letter M means. And letter M has its own special rule, which means that you have to use 2 points on a graph. And you're going to have to take this formula, M equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2, zip it, minus x1. I'm trying to teach these kids. You're over there playing little bitty car games. Zip it.
Why are you taking my Thomas book?
I'm not taking your Thomas book. Chill, bro. I'm in the middle of teaching. Shh, 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 shh. Zip it. Anyways, back to this. This is M. This is our rate of change, aka slope. So imagine, number one, you're getting some lunch from Mapoy. You're not feeling too good about lunch. You're not sure how you're going to feel about it. So you start here at 0, 0. You're like, man, not sure. 0, 0. So I'm going to label this. This is my x1, my y1. We always read graphs left to right. Now that video that on Brain Pop, they did that wrong. Don't follow them. They lie. Okay? So we read all graphs left to right. You start out here, you're not really sure if you're hungry or not. And so you show up at Mapoy's house. So I'm going to count 1, 2. So my x is going to be 2. I'm going to count up 1. My y is 1. Okay? I'm also going to label this x2, y2. So I show up at Mapoy's house and I'm like, look, I'm not really hungry, but if you show me something tasty, I might really enjoy it. So imagine this line representing your happiness. We know that it's linear because it's straight. But let's find out whether or not you are happy with Mapoy's cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and use this formula to find my rate of change. I have y2, which is 1, minus, over here, my y1, which is 0. And make sure I have m equals. And I'm going to divide this by 2 minus 0, which equals 1/2. So guess what, guys? This makes me halfway happy. So my rate of change is positive. There are no negative numbers, so this should still rise every 1. For every 1 that it rises, it will move along the x2. Both positive. So m equals 1/2. Now, let's imagine that we go to Mr. Weaver's house. We'll look at number 7. Mr. Weaver, and that meal that he cooked. Ugh. Let's go ahead and look. M is equal to... The reason I write this every time is because I forget. Obviously, I have this mouthy 4-year-old over here that talks way too much. And I forget a lot of things. Again, we read graphs left to right. We know the line is linear. But I go to Weave's house and Weaves with the W. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and count out where's my hunger factor. When I start, I'm like, man, I'm starving. So let's go 1, 2, 3. So I know that I'm on 3 for my y. It's positive. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's -4 for my x. So -4, this is my x1 and my y1. It's my x1 and y1 because when we read the graph left to right, it's the point that comes first, okay? Left to right, whatever point comes first is your x1, y1. So I eat Weave's meal. And I'm like, dude, all right, we're going to see if this was a good meal or not, okay? So I eat this meal. And after eating the meal, 0, 1, 2. So my x is now -2. And my y is now -1. And so what we're going to find here is the slope. And I'm going to go ahead and label this x2, y2. So if I have this formula to find my slope, aka rate of change, we're going to see what happened here when I ate Weave's food, okay? So I'm going to take my -2 and I'm going to subtract my +3. And then I'm going to divide that by, so notice my -2 is my y2, okay? I'm going to divide that by my x2, which is -1, and that's going to be minus -4. I know that when I have two negatives together, this becomes a positive, okay? So, -2 minus 3 is -5, okay? And -1, so I'm going to rewrite that here. -1 plus 4 gives me a -3. This makes this positive. Let's make sure we did everything we needed to do. We went 1, 2. We went down 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. All looks good. Okay. And so we have this slope trend that this right here would become positive because they're both negative. However, they both turned out to be negative. So let me erase this and make sure that we both understand that they're both negative at this time. A negative and a negative, okay? So they both turn out to be, oh wait, I did some wrong math. That's because my stomach is so disgusted from eating Weave's food. I have a -1 and a +4. Sorry, that gives me +3. That means when I ate his food, I lost my appetite. It went down 5 every 3 runs. So basically his food gave me the runs. See? Looks like this is going down. And if you look at Mapoy's food, your appetite went up using the same formula. So note to self, don't eat Mr. Weaver's food because, well, makes your appetite go down and it gives you the runs. All right, kids, that's my daily lesson for you. -5, +3. If you have any questions, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube page. Thanks.